Here are two cracking ideas that you can use to improve the spoken part of any video that you make. They'll make you sound more powerful, more persuasive, and certainly more professional. And great news is you can use them anywhere that you sit or stand to speak. Hello there, my name is Peter Thomson, and over the last 27 years I've been writing, creating and marketing informational products to the point where I'm now the UK's most prolific information product creator with hundreds of programs, I don't know, 7, 8, 15 books, can't remember how many it is now, loads of books, loads of videos, loads of audios, and some of those videos were fantastic, some of them were okay, and just occasionally they were complete and absolute rubbish and I had to do them all over again. So hopefully by going through these ideas together you can avoid some of the mistakes that I made. Now there's two cracking ideas and they really are. The first one is how we listen when we're making audio. That sounds strange, doesn't it? How we listen when we're making audio, but in fact it is what we do. And the second one is that you're going to be able to use whenever you're working from a script, and I'll come back to that one in just a moment or two. So straight off with the first idea, this idea about listening when we are speaking. Usually we tend to think of listening and speaking at the opposite ends of the scale. We've got listening down here and we've got speaking down here because we tend to think of listening as listening to other people. However, when we listen to ourselves, and by the way, you'll use this everywhere, when we listen to ourselves, it has an amazing benefit. What happens is we're able to remove all of the, like sort of absolutely filler words that rob our speech of passion, of persuasion, of professionalism. It's crazy, isn't it? You hear, as I hear, people say like in almost every sentence. People have a habit way of answering questions. Absolutely. I use absolutely a lot myself and I have to think carefully to stop doing it. But when we're speaking on videos, particularly when we're standing on stage and speaking, when we're sitting having a meeting with a potential client or clients, we can't be umming and erring and stuttering all the way through it. So what we need to do is we need to listen to ourselves. This technique is called dynamic listening. And instead of just hearing the sound of our voices, what we're doing is we're listening to our voice. And there's an easy way to do it. If you get your hand and you make it almost like a seashell and you put it behind your ear, and you could do both of them, it looks a bit strange, so be careful where you're doing this. And if you move your hands about it's just about there. If you move your hands about whilst you're listening, as you're speaking out loud, you'll find the point where it resonates. And when you're doing that, you're really aware of the sound of your own voice and what you're saying. So all we need to do is this. It's a simple, it takes practice idea, is when we're speaking, instead of saying like, sort of, or any other of that rubbish, we just replace it in the same way we do when we're writing or typing, with silence. Now, as long as you don't pause in the wrong place, or for too long, and take cups of tea in the middle, nobody will ever notice. In fact, you probably gather today, what I'm doing is I'm pausing just a little bit longer. Really just to demonstrate that the pause is incredibly powerful, as long as you don't overuse it. See, it's over the top now, isn't it? But pausing, looking round, being relaxed about it is great. And instead of putting that little filler word in, the like, just pause. Now, when you're typing, when you're writing, you wouldn't dream of putting, like, absolutely, sort of, kind of, unless you meant to, within your writing. You would put gaps in between the words and then you'd put a full stop on the end of the sentence so everybody would know you'd finished. And they'd expect to pause after that full stop. So it's exactly the same when we're doing it on video or when we're doing it face to face or we're standing on stage to a group of people. And you'll find that with a bit of practice that you are able to remove almost all of the so-called filler words. Now, throwing the odd, let me think about that, will never hurt. Adding a bit of an or occasionally can make it sound very natural. But you want to do it on purpose and not by default. So the best way to practice this is when you are talking out loud on your own. So perhaps when you're driving around but still concentrating, you're just talking out loud and you're really aware of your voice and exactly the words that you're saying, so that you catch that odd before it even escapes your mouth. You'll be amazed how much more fluent, how much more powerful, how much more persuasive you'll sound when you remove the filler words. So let's move on to number 2, and that's when we're using a script. Now, on one of these videos, I will explain for you how to actually create a teleprompter of your own. Very easy to use with an iPad and an iPhone, and I'll show you exactly how you can make one for Tuppence Halfpenny. But let's think about using a script for a moment. You might be using a script because you're voicing a keynote or a PowerPoint presentation, and you've decided to make a video where you don't appear and people can't actually see you. They're only watching the slides and the transitions taking place. So there you could actually have a written script that you're reading out. But of course, you've got to read it with passion. You've got to be reading it with enthusiasm. We've got to be reading it in such a way that it engages people. And it's very simple, but again, takes practice technique in order to be able to do this. And of course, this will apply if you're looking through the camera lens to the words appearing on the angled glass of a teleprompter. And here's the technique. It sounds simple, but it's really powerful. Read the word you're looking at. Don't read ahead to the other, because what will happen is you'll stumble. So if you're going to do it on let's say a teleprompter, and you've got the script, go through it just once, not more than once, just once go through it so you're absolutely sure where the script is going. You know the inflection that you're going to use. Make sure that script is in short sentences. Don't have too many sub-paragraphs in there, because you'll lose the tonality that you intended to use in the inflections by having a number of sub-clauses. So go through it once, then do it for real, and simply look at each word as you read it. Now, don't do what I am doing now, which is to sound like a robot reading out a script, because that's no good. Because you can read quickly, albeit looking at the word that you're reading. You know where it's going. You've pre-read it. Just look at the word and say the word. And by the way, there's a side benefit on this. This is a fabulous technique for reading anything out loud. Thinking back of if you've got children. Reading bedtime stories to children. Fantastic idea. Talk about being fluent. You will find with practice you can read pages and pages and pages of stuff when simply looking at the words that you're reading. So there are 2 really, really powerful ideas. The first one, dynamic listening. Listening to ourselves when we're talking, whether we're talking on video, whether we're standing on stage, whether we're talking to a client, whether we're talking to friends. Whenever we're talking out loud, we want to be not just hearing the sound of our voice, we want to be listening to the words we're saying and making sure that we're saying them on purpose. And the second one is to look at the words whenever we're reading from a script, whenever that might be. Now, if you've got any comments on this, you know I'm always happy to have them. Just put them in the boxes down there. Oh, look, there's a graphic come up now. We've talked about this before, haven't we? Putting graphics onto the screen. Put your comments down there and we'll start a dialogue. And in the meantime, I wish you every success in all your adventures in life as you continue to have freedom from anything that may have held you back, and freedom to be, do and have whatever you set your heart and mind upon. I'm looking forward to the next one. I'll see you there. Goodbye for now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Then click to watch the next video. Remember to visit our website at peterthomson.com and download your free copy of my latest book, How to Write Your Business Book in 5 days or less. Until next time, every success.